Oh, welcome in to the show. It's a friendship podcast. And Kevin just ripped us at 4 today. He just said, hey, for those who aren't a part of this, who is everybody except for Gary, who's sitting in the sidebar conversation right now. General procedure around here is, hey, Sunday or Wednesday, let's record about 6:30. 6:30 is kind of like standard time. And then if Kevin has something or Drake has something, we got to move it up, move it back. We kind of work from there. Kevin just rips off let's go at 4, which means that it's one of two things. It means Kevin has scheduled his day around a known procedure that was going to happen at about 5:30, or he has a dinner with people that are more important than me tonight.
If by known procedure, you mean swing a golf club at a little white object, then yes, we do.
I'd say that's a known procedure.
Got a little Twilight round tonight.
Really? Who are you going with?
Yeah, just some peeps,
some friends, some acquaintances,
some important people.
Yeah, there you go. So it wasn't dinner; it was golf. Twilight round. It's nice out, man. It's getting nice out, huh?
It's been a gorgeous week over here in eastern Iowa. I imagine much of the same over there in central Iowa. But
Very
welcome
sunny.
to spring, boys. It's here,
dude. It's here. We kind of got welcomed in with some NATOs that tried to take us out, but it's all good. In fact, Grant thought you might have died in the tornado.
Yeah, one came about 2 miles away from my house and tore up a little bit of Coralville.
It's tough.
Yeah,
you really got to pick and choose. You go down to live in Florida, you go to the East Coast, and now you're fucking around with a hurricane, right?
West Coast, you got fires and earthquakes.
Right? Go to the middle of the country, now you're dealing with tornadoes. I'll just rip through an entire town. So it is what it is.
Yeah, and then I don't think anyone really wants to live in like the Northwest, because
I was gonna say like northern Minnesota.
I guess then no, Mount St. Helens, there's a goddamn volcano there about 20 years ago. So we're safe. Like Minnesota, I don't know.
I was gonna say, like, if you live in northern Minnesota, I don't remember when the last hurricane or tornado ripped through there. I think they don't really mess with that north of on the map.
You just have to accept that the winters are just going to be blizzarded over, and you're not going to do anything.
Horrible. So, yeah, you got to deal with the snow.
So it really is pick your poison, man. I think that's why if you're rich in this country, you get multiple residences, and then you just kind of bounce between them at the opportune time.
I agree.
That's the goal.
I would love to have. Speaking of residences, the boys found an absolute no-brainer buy on Zillow for the Benton boys. We're gonna create a compound. Bo Bauer, he did the math and figured out that each of us collectively, we'd have to only average making about $300,000 per year to purchase a property that is in, where is it?
The first one?
Yeah.
Middle of nowhere, Montana, I believe.
Okay. Was that the castle?
That was the castle. Yeah.
Okay.
But unclear if this castle has heat, electricity, or running water.
Didn't look like it does.
Don't think it does. But it cost $4 million.
Yeah, it costs a lot. It did have a round table room
and a crossbow.
And
it had a watchtower. Did you see that?
Also had a watchtower.
It had a separate little watchtower. Like, I don't know if you ever played Age of Empires as a kid.
Oh yeah.
You could build like a little watchtower where they shoot arrows out of. It had one of those.
It's kind of like the Archer Tower on the
exactly.
Exterior.
Clash of Clans. It's
the exterior of the base.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't think our women would enjoy living in that castle.
But damn, they would not. No.
But damn, could the boys build that up to really we could really make that suit us pretty well.
I mean, isn't that just the dream? Is like, you get, Parker Hesse always talked about this when I lived with him for a little bit. Is like, it's probably no happier form of human civilization ever than a hunter-gatherer tribe, like a pack of about no more than 50, but probably around 30 people.
Yeah,
right?
I was gonna say 50.
Yeah, and that's your tribe, right?
Yeah.
All you gotta do is worry about getting food, shelter, water every day.
there was very little outside of like basic necessity stress, which obviously hard to argue against that because it is nice to have like, just food whenever and a place that's not going to leak on you and like you can sleep and all that. But like, man, other than those, they had no stress. They didn't have to worry about going to work, traffic, managing
Deadlines.
coworkers, deadlines.
Now, I imagine, I guess it would depend on where this hunter-gatherer tribe lived, right? If it lived in temperate zones,
Yeah.
you might be a little stressed about food in the winter.
Yeah.
But I imagine if, like, say this was like a tribe on like the Hawaiian Islands where you can go fishing year round, man. And it just jumps in the boat down there.
Yeah.
That'd probably be
Best place to be
gonna go on
homeless,
record
Hawaii.
right now. The ancient Hawaiians probably were the happiest people to ever live on this planet.
Yeah. Well, I think it shines through. I mean, you were just recently in Hawaii. The whole place over there is just we talked about it. It seems like a happy place.
It is. It's a very happy place, and it's my happy place.
Are you going to move there?
I wouldn't say no to that.
What if we just build out a podcast studio in Hawaii? God, that would be the fucking dream, man.
Stryker had a job listing for exactly what I do in Hawaii
Really?
about a year ago. I'm like,
you considered it like on a small percentage.
I just bought my house, but I'm like, man, do I apply for this thing? Do I like?
Here's the thing. You probably would have been in the run. I mean, you would have had a decent shot at the job.
I mean, perfectly qualified, right? Know what you're doing. You just plug and play day one.
Yeah.
The only thing is like you gotta learn the territory. You gotta learn.
Would this have been on the Big Island?
It would have no. So the most populous island is Oahu.
Is that not the Big Island? Oh, the Big Island is actually called Hawaii, isn't it?
That is correct.
Yeah, Oahu is the one with Honolulu on.
That is correct.
Yeah. Which, by the way, Honolulu is like, it looks like fucking LA. Like it's a massive city.
Honolulu has like Miami vibes to it.
Mm.
It's the locals would say it's not like the real Hawaii.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nothing like Maui.
But if you want to live in a city in a paradise, yeah, go for it.
That's pretty cool. Speaking of taking trips, the boys, Grant, you can bring yourself in here now. The boys have something to discuss, some real stuff to discuss, and that is if we're gonna do this fucking tight end you thing, we better get that figured out, right?
Is this actually happening? Are we doing this?
Well, I saw invites were going out. Did you get one?
Well, we didn't get my mailbox.
We didn't get a fucking Instagram invite like the actual tight ends did. But I texted George today and said, "Hey, I'm assuming that you weren't just pity offering the Walkons a chance to come and hang out and possibly have access to tight end you, and then do some podcasts at the barn, work out, train." And he goes, I'm having a meeting this week with the tight end you people. I'm going to talk to them. But regardless, you guys should absolutely come and train at the barn and kick it off with a podcast that we record at the barn and hang out. And I was like, okay, we don't even really need access to the event. Like, we just kind of want to be around and maybe catch a couple hours with a couple guys here and there.
It'd be pretty cool to have access to the event, though. I wouldn't like.
Oh, yeah,
would you really turn that down?
No. I mean, I wasn't going to, but you beggars can't be choosers, right? But I was gonna say, we'd love access to the event. I'd love to do like some, this causes a whole other issue of me needing to upgrade our content producing equipment on a fast pace because we would need some like mobile microphones, like some lavalier mics and all that stuff. But would love access to the event. But if we could simply, at minimum, just like go hang out with George on like Sunday, Monday before it starts, do a podcast with him, maybe catch I know CJ hangs around. He'll probably be there. Catch TJ Hawk, maybe catch Noah Fant. Get the Hawk tight ends in there. Maybe
I think Laporta is rumored to have an invite as well.
get some,
I do know that. Yeah, they invite a couple of.
I think they
college
invite like the
dudes
top
as well.
3 or 5 college tight ends or something
But
like
I
that.
mean, Laporta will be on a team by then.
That's true. He'll be in the NFL at that point. So, I know this is tough, especially for you, Kev, because you just took off a week plus to go to Hawaii. So I don't know if you're going to be able to make it. Grant, I know that you had said previously, you're like, I might just do the walk-ons for the summer. I don't know if I'm really going to, fill my schedule with other responsibilities other than like, helping the walk-ons make content. This is June 20th through the 22nd, I believe. It's the Tuesday.
If you're there Sunday, Monday, I think that's the 18th. 19th.
Yeah, it'd be 18, 19. 19th is the Monday, and then 20th is when it starts. So if we do this, are we doing this? Drake is probably going to be there regardless, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, I might have to try to make it happen.
I mean, in Kev, we wouldn't even need you for like a full 3 or 4 days. Like maybe
Kev, you're completely you're not necessary to this operation whatsoever.
I was gonna say, what do you mean by that? You're just saying, like,
I'm saying that
Kev, if you wanted to fuck off and die, right, that would actually probably be beneficial to the.
I'm saying that if you,
I think it works best if all 3 of you guys.
Oh, obviously, right? But
I think at worst, like even if just like one person was there, I think it's a really cool opportunity. So,
what I'm saying is like anything that we can get out of Kevin, being that he's the one that has true responsibility of the 4 of us, that would be great, right?
Better phrasing there, my friend.
There you
go.
But also fuck off and die, Kevin.
Yeah.
Right.
Naturally, I'm working on it, slowly but surely.
Thought about calling Drake actually to get an update on his life during this podcast. Should we do that?
You want to call him right now?
I'm gonna call him in, and I've got my phone Bluetooth to the soundboard here, so you guys should be able to.
That should be interesting.
Yeah.
Are you gonna ask him what he thinks?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
Can you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Is that loud?
It's a little loud.
Okay. I mean, it's probably like 3 o'clock in the afternoon wherever he is at. So there's no way that he's doing anything, right? He's just he's gonna fucking not answer on his own podcast.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
Let's listen to his
5, 6,
Oh,
3.
we're not gonna divulge his.
Did you actually think Drake would have a custom voicemail?
I kind of did.
Yeah, no way.
No chance.
Am I dumb to think that?
Yeah, I think you are. Yeah.
Doesn't everybody?
I don't have one.
Really?
No.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, I have to, but I would guess like our generation and below, majority do not. I'd imagine.
Huh. We're just becoming more.
I don't even know
more...
how to do it. Like I don't.
I mean, all right, Grant. Does your generation? Do you guys even call people?
I call people.
You call people?
Yeah.
Well, you're different.
I'd say like I don't know, 60% of people my age call people.
They just snapped. All they do, Kev, is Snapchat pictures of their face to each other back and forth. That's what this.
Well, to be fair, there was a time when we did that too.
No, I'm talking. They just have conversations of back and forth. There's no words on the screen. Just it's I don't know. I think the boys are going to end up at tight end U. It at least for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And so Grant, that's going to be. I mean, we're gonna dip into the old Walkons account there and make it a business trip. So, I would say
let's do it. My schedule's clear.
Okay. Well, I would say keep it clear because that's my current plan. and I'd love to get a podcast with it minimum George. But I'm going to figure out the logistics of storing the podcast on multiple SD cards and making sure that we have plenty of room to record on, but should be able to get like 3 to 5 podcasts done in the matter of 3 or 4 days, and that'll give us like a whole 2 or 3 weeks of content, which would be fucking fantastic. So that'll be fun. How many times have you played golf, Kev?
I've played once so far this year. This will be my
that's
second round of the year.
Okay.
How was that first? Mr. Bo Bauer was in town last weekend, and we snuck off and got a round in.
He was in town again?
Yeah, so his coach, his high school coach.
Oh,
passed away
yeah.
and came in town for that.
I saw that. How'd you swing it?
Not bad for the first round out of the year.
John Rahm?
No John Rahm. No John Rahm by any means whatsoever. I don't know if John Rahm has ever shot above a 90 in his entire life.
Oh, I figured he has probably.
Not in the last 15 years of his life. He probably
not in the last 15 years. What do you think? How old do you think John Rahm is? You think he's our age? A little older?
He's about our age, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Grant, pull it up. I think he's like 27.
He's from Spain. Yeah, so you're right.
He's an American.
It says when they list where he's from, it says
he's an American.
He's 28.
So he's our age.
Okay. Yeah, he's an American, basically.
Do we look as old as John Rahm, or does he look younger than us?
He's got a really thick beard. I don't know.
Drake is answering. Oh.
Yo.
Oh, we were just going to call you in. We're currently recording the podcast, and we just wanted an update on how your life is going.
What's up, you fucking pussies?
Everybody's just laughing. I can't connect it to the...
You staying out of jail out there?
Kevin asked if you're staying out of jail.
Well, I'm currently out of jail, and I found out that my license has not been frauded in Florida. It was frauded in Alabama. So it was some fucking no-tooth meth head sister fucking weirdo that's now going by Drake Cooling, and I ain't real happy about it.
So for those listening right now, a slight backstory. Drake texted us this morning and said, amongst other things, that he got pulled over, and
I got pulled over for doing 10 over in Yellowstone. Like, hey, buddy, the sun's going down. How about you just let me get to my destination before I run into a fucking moose and kill all 4 of us, huh?
The pod missed you. So he gets pulled over for doing 10 over, and they run his license, and the guy comes back and asks Drake, like, he said, did he basically start like questioning you as if you were like a fugitive?
He goes, where did you say you're coming from? And I said, Phoenix. And he's like, so you live in Phoenix? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, then how come it's saying that this license from Phoenix is void and you have an ID card out of Florida? And I was like, what? And like, I think he could tell in my eyes that I was genuinely dumbfounded.
You were being truthful. Yeah.
And he's like, have you ever been to the state of Florida? And I was like, wait, what? And he's like, have you ever been to the state of Florida? Like, yeah, I've been to Florida, but I didn't get an ID card in Florida. He's like, okay. So then he asked me, he's like, you got any other form of identification? Got to give him my insurance card. Got to give him my debit card. Kaylee gives him her ID so that he can find out that there's at least one person in the van who has a license. And this dude totally thinks that I'm a criminal or a fugitive. But, I mean, by the time we talked to him and told him like everything that was going on, he let us go. He gave me a speeding ticket, which whatever, but he didn't give me a ticket for no license, and he didn't take me to jail. If he'd have took me to jail yesterday, I would have been on a manhunt for this motherfucker in Alabama. I would have been Dog the Bounty Hunter with 45 caliber strapped to my chest, waiting to find this dirty bastard.
You would have been where? Wait, what this? I'm going to sound like an absolute idiot, but what state is Yellowstone in?
Yellowstone's Montana, Wyoming.
Okay.
The north side is in Montana. The north side of Yellowstone is in southern Montana.
Okay.
And then the rest of it is in northern Wyoming.
So you would have taken that travel van, and you would have been on a beeline straight to the Alabama. And
buddy, I would have been in the back of a police car on my way to a Montana fucking jail. And then once I got bailed out, I would have been on my horse to Alabama.
You could probably find a few horse out there in Montana. Well, that's good. We appreciate the update. We were just talking about how we need to finalize our plans for us going to Tight End U and going down to Pod with George. So, we're I think we're that's a go, and we're officially going to do that.
All right. Make sure that Washed Up Walkons is buying my plane ticket.
We'll see.
You got a nice van. You can drive.
I was going to say, aren't you going to be there anyway?
No, I'm showing up there for that, and then I'll probably stay longer.
I don't know if we can expense that, but we'll have to talk. I'll have to talk to our financial guy. But we appreciate that you're not in jail, and we appreciate you checking in with the podcast.
I will beat your bald ass to death.
Okay. What are you doing right now?
We are outside of this recreation center. Kaylee and I are about to go do some rock climbing.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're in Big Sky, Montana right now, and we went up to Big Sky Lodge to try and do some snowboarding. One of the most beautiful places on earth to snowboard. And their lift tickets were $165 a piece without rentals. And then we would have had to have gotten goggles and shit. So we just decided not to spend like $1,000 on 3 hours of snowboarding, but that's what we're doing now.
My God, that's expensive.
It's ridiculous. I mean, this place is so rich that I can't even say I'm surprised.
Yeah. Enjoy the rock climbing. Warm up that ankle, and we'll talk to you later.
Peace.
There you go. A little
Why
Nice
why is it always Drake who always finds himself in these situations?
That's what I said in the text conversation. I responded after he told us that story in text message form and said, why is this just seems so standard for you?
Like no one else in our friend group has these type of stories that like
Nobody. Not even Kevin, not even close. Have you ever think of the amount of stories that Drake's had? And I will say, Drake sort of he also lives a lifestyle that puts him in these positions where he is kind of this roaming free spirit. He's across the country. He's at Iowa, he goes out to Arizona, he goes to Nashville, all this different shit. But there is something about Drake that his energy that he puts out into the world, he just attracts chaotic, unorganized happenings and people. And I don't understand it, but it is true. He's an anomaly. I don't get it.
Yeah, maybe it's just he's an interesting cat, and
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I knew that he was going to try and bag the company for his plane ticket out to Nashville. I knew that. I thought about it when George first brought up that we should come out to Nashville, and I thought that doesn't make sense. If he's going to be back in Nashville hanging out, he's going to try and like get us to pay for his plane ticket. I don't know about that. I don't know. I'll pay for Grant. I don't know about paying for Drake.
What hotel accommodations we getting?
Well, that's the other thing is we're going to have to figure out, are we going to get an Airbnb?
Pitching a tent up at George's acreage.
Hey, I'm down, right? It's going to be hot.
It'd be hot that time of year, man.
It's late June in Nashville, Tennessee. Probably don't want to camp outside.
Be like summer of 2015 without air conditioning.
But some say we were at our best that summer.
Some say our suffering is what gave us such a good year.
Some say, right? You could try and correlate the fact that we were just tough sons of bitches, and that and the long snapper and special teams guy being tough that one summer correlated into 12 wins. I don't think you're going to be successful in correlating those, but you could try.
There is a correlation in the amount of air conditioning, an inverse correlation, I should say, in the amount of air conditioning we had the summer before the season and the amount of wins.
Yeah. Could have been the amount of Jimmy
John's
John's
air conditioning, the more wins.
Could have been the amount of Jimmy John's John was eating as well. I think he ate less Jimmy John's that summer.
He ate a lot in the summer of 2014. So yeah.
A lot meaning, for the new listeners who haven't heard this quick ditty, he ate it every day for the first 4 weeks that we lived in our house.
What was it that he asked how to make that
scrambled eggs? John Wiz,
19 years old, didn't know how to make scrambled eggs.
John Wiz at 19 years old marveled over Kevin making scrambled eggs one morning. It's like, dude, you know how to make scrambled eggs? I got to figure out how to do that. And I heard that from the living room and thought, what the fuck?
And he was a smart guy too, man.
He's a super smart guy.
Yeah.
He was academic all Big Ten like every year we were there. I don't know.
Yeah. Funny stuff though. Funny stuff.
I don't know. Do we? So camping's probably out, unless we somehow swing Bo into coming to Tight End U, and then doesn't he have like a Palomino that we could all cram into
Um,
on the back of his truck?
I don't know if he still has it or not though, but getting him back to Tennessee is going to be a tough sell since Rachel is
Moving out of there in like May.
moving out of there in like a month. So I
Yeah.
don't think he's going to want to go back there.
You're probably right.
But
about
you know
that.
what? To hang out with the boys, he might.
I think he'd go anywhere to hang out with the boys.
You know, he's going to have I'm not sure when his honeymoon is though. His wedding's the last weekend of May.
Yeah, you're right. Might be tight. I bet we could hit up Crisper, and I bet he has access to a camper.
I mean, when you're a man of many assets, you can have access to whatever you like, right?
In fact, I bet that if we wanted to beg somebody that listens to this show and cares about the Walkons content and us getting quality content in the summer with George and other high-profile athletes from the NFL, I bet someone has a camper that they'd loan us. Anybody? Any takers? I won't shit in it.
Bueller.
I don't know. Do we get an Airbnb? Do we try and like skim George? Like, hey, can we all sleep in your guest room? Like, how do we do this? I don't know. I know George has a guest room, right?
Where do all the dudes that go to that state? Do they just get hotels or what? Because he's not close to Natch. Like
No,
downtown.
I've looked up his address. Why do I have his address? Oh, he sent me his address because I sent him flags and merchandise. No, I it's probably a 45-minute drive from where he's at to like Broadway Street. It would be my guess.
That's just not ideal.
So
Don't the guys like I thought all the tight end dorms at Vanderbilt where it's located.
really,
That could be wrong.
I would guess at this point, now that it's so legitimized and they have a bunch of sponsors and it's a real event, I would guess at this point they all have like a block in a hotel somewhere, or something along those lines. I doubt that they would put up millionaire NFL tight ends for a week in the dorms at Vanderbilt, but maybe. I don't know.
That could easily be wrong. I might have invented that in my head.
You could have.
I mean, I'd stay in the dorms for a couple of nights.
You want to go back to the dorms?
Not really, but it'd be an experience.
So do we name this episode Kevin goes back to college, or Drake's identity was stolen? We'll have decisions to make when we get to that point. I mean, we could. The Walkons could splurge on a little Airbnb. I mean, I don't think wife and baby are going to be coming anymore. They were originally probably going to come with, and now it's probably going to be a solo trip for this guy. But
the middle of the week trip is a tough sell. If it was like a Friday into a weekend, we could sell that with the ladies.
Yeah. Well, Lauren, I mean, she has that off, but now she's going to be back into some volleyball that she's covering for somebody, and she's got practices and shit. But we're going to have to figure that out. But I'm extremely excited. I've never been to Nashville. I've never been down to George's place. His new gym, they just added an addition to it. It's like, I mean, the thing is fully commercialized, basically. He's working out in it's his own college weight room. It's unbelievable what he's got.
And honestly, I think that'd be what I'd be more excited about than anything.
Oh, yeah. I don't give a shit. Fuck, we'll record a podcast, but hey, can I train for 3 hours in your gym? I'm doing CrossFit all day. Take George to a CrossFit workout, get him hurt, get sued. Sorry, boys. Sorry. He would never. We'll figure that out. Let's see. What do I got on the list? Oh, I know. Oh, dude. You know, like a month and a half ago, we asked for some Apple reviews, right?
Oh, my favorite. Yes.
Well, we've got some Apple reviews.
Hit me. What's Tim Cook have to say about us?
I don't think Tim Cook's the one reviewing us. That would be interesting if he listened to the podcast, right?
That'd be very interesting. And if he could, refrain from making old phones turn to shit eventually, that'd be great.
That's true. They do that on purpose.
I love how they literally just came out and like admitted, it's like, yeah, we do that. And
yeah,
then,
we slow down the older phones with their software, and we don't provide as many updates because we want people to buy it. I mean, let's be honest. They got people by the balls, and they're just milking us, right?
And no one really even put up a fight to that. They're just like, yeah, okay, whatever.
So the last review that we read, I believe, before we asked for more reviews, was the 1-star on February 6th, which was half douche bros, half MAGA morons. Way too much rambling. That was a good one. Now, evidently we have to do this more because we asked for reviews. We have 9 new reviews. Every single one of them is a 5-star.
That's bullshit, and everyone who left that review knows it.
I think we've got some liars. But let's read half of them. Let's read 5 of them.
4.
Hilarious content. Kluver's shiny head caused me blindness, immediately making an eye doctor appointment.
That should be a YouTube review for the YouTube channel.
That's true. That's not for the audio edition. Passion for the Tiger Hawk. Amazing Friends podcast that also has some Hawkeye content.
Hashtag Friendship Podcast.
Tyler, Kevin, and Drake all share their passion for the U of I. And that's passion's one word for it when we're talking about Drake and the university, and all sports included. This one's by Creek Beaver, which is a ode to. So that you got to really be part of the podcast. You're probably part of the Army if you know the Creek Beaver story.
That's a long one. We haven't.
Yeah,
that's like hundreds of episodes ago.
Yeah, we have some OGs. We have some developing OGs who are like. In fact, we're recording this on Wednesday afternoon. Tomorrow, because we weren't able to record on Easter, I'm throwing it back with a redrop of the oldest episode we've ever re-uploaded. Pat Anger, episode 38.
Oof.
Dude, it's like both bad and fun to listen to as I was putting it together.
I don't think I ever want to even think about listening pre-100.
Creek Beaver left a 5-star review, and this might be the winner. I said that the best one would receive a merch package. This is in the running. 1 star for each member. He gave 5 stars. 1 star for each member. Drake, Kevin, Tyler, Grant, and Gary. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. G Money, you got us 2 stars. You got us 40% of that.
My brother Gary. It sounds like
shout out to him.
Sounds like
Hashtag
he did well.
Earn the 5th.
Great guy. Great podcast. This is from Easy Hawk. Great podcast. I listen to every episode. Really entertaining. And I like all 3 hosts. And of course, Grant. Love Kevin's knowledge of defense and Drake's stories of hanging with George and the crew. And Kluver's energy and humor. Ha! Fuck you, Drake. Somebody likes my comedy. Keep it going. We will. We will keep it going. One more.
Last one.
No has been, just never was. Blue Collar Football Podcast. Truly enjoy listening to you. 4. Laugh at least once a podcast. Love that we get an in the locker room look from you guys who have been there, but also aren't stuck up and they are truly genuine. And then he goes into asking me a personal question inside of his review.
What was it?
He says, P.S. Kluver, is Eric your uncle? Went to Indianola, played football. He was my head coach. I never actually played. Never, not even a has been. I'm a never was. The answer to that is yes. My uncle is Eric, and he is the head coach of Indianola.
I love the medium at which he chose to ask that question.
Just middle of a review. By the way,
We've got like 8 social media channels. I'm gonna ask him on Apple Podcast.
guy has to have an Instagram or a Twitter, but asks me a question through the review platform. So, Creek Beaver, if you can somehow, if you're listening to this and you can get back to me and prove that was you, I'll send you a free T-shirt. Fantastic review there.
Speaking of T-shirts, we got a little merch shop out there, huh?
We do. We have a merch shop. By the time this episode actually, wait. Tomorrow's the 13th. You might, as you're listening to this, actually still be able to slide in and grab some last-minute merch. Technically, it's supposed to end on Sunday night, but as a little secret, AdCraft usually keeps that store open the day after it closes for any last-minute. So if this is Monday morning when this comes out and you're listening, adcraftwebstores.com/washedupwalkons spring 2023.
And just let the world know how good Iowa D is.
Known for great D, some would say. Flying off the shelf, by the way. That doing well as expected.
Doing hashtag numbies.
The known for great D t-shirt is doing what we would call numbies.
We'd love to hear that.
And when
Kids
we
love
see
to hear that too.
Yeah, and when we see a response like that, it usually means that we should put that in our permanent store. So that design, as well as the Goat Wallace return, those both will be going in the 24/7 store. So if you miss out on this drop, or you go and you're listening to this after the fact and the store is closed, you'll have other opportunities to get those t-shirts. Might as well throw in the pork producer plug here as well before we finish out this podcast with another 20 minutes of content. Shout out to the pork producers for basically keeping me well nourished, right? Put out a tweet today that said, hey, if you want some really broad advice on how to look better in the next 3 months, you should do like 4 or 5 things. Drink more water, get more sleep, do more lifting, get more protein. You know where you can get protein?
Oink, oink.
Every pork product out there. High in protein, low in fat, which is great for body composition. Grant just went and threw on the hat. Show us what you got, Grant. Their little pig logo is fantastic.
I do love it.
And
we had a Webster City ham for Easter last week.
Wow.
Hometown of Boone Myers, and quality meat.
Dude, I want Boone on the podcast so bad, but when we reached out to him in 2021, he just didn't respond to me.
I talked to him about it too. It's not his thing.
Okay. All right. I at least like, because when I reach out to guys that real quick, before we wrap up that, on the pork front, obviously a lot of ham going down to Easter, as you just said. I got leftover ham. I don't know. It probably works this way with you as well, Kev. I mean, I guess your whole family, because you guys are fucking thoroughbreds. But when I go to like Lauren's family or even my family, Tyler's always the guy who gets the leftovers.
There's a plethora of leftovers to be given out at the Ward family Easter. Yeah.
Right. So I go home with these like Tupperwares full of meat, ham, turkey, and at Thanksgiving. So Monday's my grocery day. Head over to the local Fairway. Grab myself a 12-pack of Hawaiian sweet rolls.
Nice.
Pluck off about 6 of those guys. Cut them in half. Ham, provolone. Stick it in the oven. Ham and cheese sliders for lunch yesterday.
Hell yeah.
Unbelievable.
I'm all about that. Now, are you a mustard guy? You like a little mustard, maybe even a little Dijon mustard on that?
I'm not a yellow mustard guy.
Okay.
I am, however, a honey mustard and a Dijon mustard guy.
Okay.
I did not have that with the ham and cheese sliders, but like the honey mustard we got at team meal.
Yeah.
Oh man. Tell you what. Anyway, I I'm glad that Boone was just like, hey, that's not my thing. Because sometimes when I reach out to people and they don't respond at all, now I'm conflicted. Do you not like me? Was I misreading our relationship for the 5 years that we played together, or maybe 3 years or whatever it was? Do you not like what we've done in the public eye with our podcast and using our platform? Because there's some of those guys out there as well, right?
But it's fair.
Yeah, it is fair. It is fair. Or are you just not really interested and you're not even going to respond and like that's going to be your thing? And I want that to be the case. But Boone's a good dude. We've had a ton of requests for Boone as well. And I'm like, man, we reached
He's
out.
got a good story, man.
He does have a great story. And he actually has a really interesting story with the way he was injured. And, you know, there's some details in there that would be actually fun to hear about now, 5 years after the fact. Not so fun for him as he had to go through it. If Boone doesn't get hurt and he stays healthy, that's a fucking NFL lineman right there.
Oh yeah, he'd have found himself on a team, no doubt.
We had Boone, Ike, and Sean, who Sean voluntarily ended his football career because of, we had him on. We talked about his mental health issues and, being, him choosing to step away from football. He was an NFL lineman if he wanted to be for as long as he wanted to be. Ike is now in year 5 or 6 in the league, whatever it is. And Boone would have been the same. I mean, that's a class of lineman right there.
Shame they can never be healthy at the same time.
I know we never had those three on the line at the same time.
Yeah,
dude. When you're the human frame, it's not necessarily meant to be 315 pounds and move that explosively. You know that.
It puts a lot of stress on it, and then when you have people running into you and bashing into you full speed 70 times a game, yeah, it's hard to stay.
Not great for longevity.
No, it's not.
Monica Czinano,
hard to stay battle ready.
Yeah, Czinano, who was obviously a key part of the women's basketball team who just made their run to the national championship game, a senior member. She just got drafted in the 3rd round of the WNBA draft to the LA Sparks, I believe is.
Saw that. Why did I think there was only 2 rounds?
I also thought there was only 2 rounds. Maybe they added one. Is there only 2 in the NBA draft? There might only be 2 in the NBA draft.
Okay.
In the WNBA, I believe there's 12 teams. And so that makes 36 picks, if I'm correct. She was pick number 26, so like the 3rd pick of the 3rd round. And
that's so crazy how small that is, man. How small of a league. How good you have to be
crazy. I mean, that's wild.
Right?
36 people a year get drafted into a professional league.
And I imagine only 2/3 of them, if that, make the roster.
Maybe half. So here's the stat I saw, because people are wondering like, oh, does Czinano have a chance of making the Sparks? Like, is she going to have a real career in the WNBA? Last year, and this is a singular sort of maybe unmeaningful data point, but a data point nonetheless. In the 2022 draft, only 2 of 12 selected in the 3rd round, of which Monica was, made an opening day roster. So that's out of the 3rd round.
Yeah.
So you probably guess that maybe half or 2/3 of the 2nd round made an opening day roster, and maybe the entire 1st round made an opening day roster. So you're looking at like half the league, or half the draft. If there's 36 women drafted, 18 of them are going to see opening day on the real roster. That's crazy, bro. That's wild.
Nuts. In a country of 330 million.
That is wild.
Yeah.
That's why you see like Gustafson and a bunch of other players go overseas. And I mean, shit, Megan just won I think she plays in Greece. Her team won the Greece league.
Honestly, that doesn't sound like the worst living out there in the world. Go live in Greece, spend your weekends going out to Santorini.
Mykonos.
Hell yeah.
Dude, I think
our guy Big Cat, he's over is he in Lithuania?
I don't know where he is. He posts like graphics all the time of like
I
this
think he's
foreign
somewhere
language.
in Eastern Europe. I want to say like Lithuania or Poland or something.
My guy balls out over there though, dude. He's a superstar. He's dunking all over these foreign dudes. And I think when you adjust for cost of living, I think you're making like a pretty good salary, even in the women.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's not obviously not the United States, the NBA, but Europeans love their basketball.
Crazy.
It's
That-
I'm pretty sure it's their second biggest sport behind soccer.
So you remember Aaron White, right?
Yeah.
Long, skinny, lanky, transparent dude who played like right when we got into Iowa.
Mhm.
Ginger.
I remember.
He is still to this day dunking all over people in Turkey somewhere. He's played for like 8 different league teams overseas. I tried to find his salary and like what they make over there. They can make like those dudes, the best guys on a team for men's can make like in the millions of dollars.
Sure. Yeah.
That's not a bad life. If you're okay with moving overseas and not living, close to family in America.
I mean, they got off seasons, right?
Sure. I mean, they probably come back.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind spending, especially if you're like right out of college, man. If you're like 22, 23 years old, hey, do you want to make good money for the next 5 to 7 years of your life and spend half the time in Europe?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can go travel Europe, make good money, spend half the year back in the States with your family and training and that type of stuff. And
you're
I think that'd be an awesome life experience. And I wish the football thing, like American football, was a little stronger over there.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
I told you guys that I had the offer to go play in an Italian league, right? It was right after I started working for Stryker.
Really?
Yeah. And if
I
would have gotten
vaguely
the offer,
remember.
Oh yeah, I had an offer to go play for a team in Italy.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised that you didn't do it.
I had literally just started my job, man. I was like 2 months in. If I'd gotten that offer like 6 months, like right after I'd finished interning, I would have been
gone?
like, man, I gotta think. I might have done it. It would
Kev,
have been cool. Yeah.
Italy's your place, bro.
I'm going for my honeymoon.
Man,
I think that would have been sick.
I wish the NFL, or at least actually that brings up a point that I saw on McAfee's show. He had a guy on and they were talking about how
to grow the sport.
Well, how likely it is that the NFL expands eventually to 40 teams. And how it's likely that there will be somewhere between 2 and 4 teams in London or in England or Europe.
Yeah, I mean, what they had they're doing what, like 6 games a year now in London, and they
Right
had
now
the
they
first
are,
one
yeah.
in Germany last year, right?
Yeah, and they've gone down to Mexico as well.
Yeah, they've gone down to Mexico City a couple times. I'm all for growing the game, right? The logistics would be a nightmare. I can't imagine being one of those teams over on the other side of the pond and having to travel to the US to play. That'd be
You'd almost have to work the schedule in their favor where they could do like 2 or 3 week stretches.
Yeah, yep. It's like,
And then
you're at home for a month and then you're going to spend a month in the States.
Yeah, because having them, it's already a bitch for those teams to, I mean, especially considering when there's Thursday, Monday night games, right? You can't have a team making, I mean, what's a flight over there? 12 hours?
Depends where you're flying from. From like New York to London, I want to say is 8-ish.
Yeah. I mean, I guess.
But yeah, if you're coming from Los Angeles, add another 7, I think.
Grant's got something pulled up here on the side. Really? Only 7 hours and 10 minutes? But, I mean, then you're adding 5 or 6 if you're from LA or,
Yeah, and then you have to deal with the time changes too.
Which just completely screws you. So the logistics is a little screwy, but like you said, if you could get if the game could grow to a point where similar to the Euro leagues in basketball, you could send guys over and they could make decent money playing football. It'd be cool. It'd be a lot of opportunity. I mean, I love what the XFL is trying to do. Jack and Sean Byer and Heflin and a couple other guys I think are playing in the XFL right now.
Yeah.
It's hard for shit to catch on. I think the XFL is like,
I asked Bo this question last time I saw him. Curious what your answer would be. If those leagues were around when we came out, so we came out in 2018.
Yep.
If like the XFL or what else? What was the one that flopped after a year? The
AFL, the AAFL.
Yeah. If those were around, would you have pursued those if you had had opportunity?
I think that I would have. And as we've gotten older, I think you look back, kind of like you just looked fondly back on the idea of like, man, I could have played in Italy, right? Like, and I think this probably happens with all people to some extent. Is like you look back and you're like, why not, right? Like, why wouldn't? Like, that would be a great opportunity. Like,
right, because at the early 20s, you don't have to make big life-changing decisions.
You realize
you have the ability to make decisions not solely based around money or your career, or because you don't have like a family yet to take care, right?
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking earlier about we're just talking earlier about going to Nashville, and I'm like, well, I texted Lauren about it today after I texted George. I'm like, hey, I think Nashville is probably going to be a go. I don't want to go too long because I'm going to miss baby girl and I'm going to miss you, and I don't want to be away from you guys as long as more than I have to be.
You texted George that? That's weird.
Yeah, I did text George that, and he said, man, I appreciate that. That's really heartwarming. No, I texted my wife that, and she's like, don't worry about us. Like, we're going to be fine. I'm like, I know, but I'll miss you guys. When you're 23 and there's no kid in the picture, and you're starting your career and you be a little bit more career focused or travel focused, you're like, fuck it. Sure.
Yeah, we had Bill Perkins on, and that's what his book was about. Is like, go have those life experiences when you can, right?
Yeah.
Because 10 years later, you got a family that relies on your income, and
and it's not even so much
just
about
spend 6 months in Italy playing football or
go
pursue a very questionable league that may or may not be around for the whole season.
Right. Well, yeah, you need a little bit more long-term stability because, or at least you'd like it. Most people would like it because they feel the need to, you're like, I need to provide a life. It's also there's also just the fact that like, once you have kids, you're a little bit more focused on giving them all the opportunities instead of yourself, right? You're just,
as hopefully you should be, right?
So to answer your question,
your life's not about you anymore.
Right. To answer your question, I do think I would have pursued that. In fact, we joked about it on here about how I got the, that Novak guy reached out and wanted me to come to the XFL specialist combine. I was 100% serious, even with baby girl on the way at the time. Lauren was just pregnant. I was like, hey, if I get this opportunity, I might need to move to, at the time, I didn't know they were housing everybody down in Texas. I was like, I might need to like move to St. Louis for 2 months or 3 months. Like I think we looked it up in 2 or 3 months. I think like the average guy was going to make 55 or 60 grand for the XFL. You
could still keep doing the podcast. You could probably still train
100%. I would not, my job would not have, in fact, because I was away from Lauren and baby, I would have had more time to actually focus on outside of football, my personal training stuff and the podcast. The podcast, we would have hired Gary. Gary would have helped us out. No big deal, right? And, to make, I'm not hurting for cash by any means, but hard to turn down 55, 60 G's for 2 to 3 months of work
to go
snap a football.
Yeah.
And, I absolutely would have. I was still trying to pursue it at a very low level if they were interested. So yeah, dude, after our pro day, if someone would have been like, hey, the XFL's calling, you want to snap? Fuck yeah, dude. I'm there. Now, I probably don't have a job within 18 months with how most of these leagues work, but I think the XFL, The Rock has, his money's behind it right now. I think that they have a decent structure as far as the business side of thing goes with the financials, to where they can make this thing work, or at least give it a shot for like the next 3 to 5 years. That gives me a little bit of hope. And I think people bought into it decently this year. Like, there's been some decent ratings on TV, and some decent fan turnouts. So who knows? We'll see.
Yeah.
If anything, it's it would be great to have a G League like the NBA or the farm system in the MLB, right? It widens the. I get it. Football's hard
because college is that for the NFL.
Right. I know. Yeah, I know. It's weird. It's weird how the sports work differently.
Yeah, I mean, your shelf life in football is much less than that of basketball, baseball. Like, you can go spend 4 years playing minor league baseball before you get called up. You spend 4 years playing minor league football.
You're probably dead.
You've depending on position, you might be past your
Right.
prime.
Yeah, like in the NFL, in Major League Baseball, if you can get like into the big leagues and like playing by the time you're 25 or 26, like, fuck, you're doing it. Hey, buddy, you're doing it. Put in your time. The AAA, maybe some AA ball, grind it out 3-4 years, make your way into a roster. 25, 26, let's have a career, right? If you're 25, 26 entering the NFL, it's like, hey, you got 2 years left. And if you're
right, because like the average NFL career by itself is less than 3. Right. It's like 2.5.
And if you're 25 or 26 trying to enter the NBA, well, guess what? You're old.
Now, you might still be able to play for a little bit while longer, but you are old. Yeah.
If you're 25 and you're 25 or 26, you're trying to be an Olympic gymnast. You're not going to be an Olympic gymnast.
You're like older than the coach.
Yeah. It's just, it's crazy how sports works out. Like,
I mean, some of those, I know they have like an age limit. You have to be at least 16, but some of those other countries, man, it looks like there's 12-year-olds out there.
Well, I think at one point there was 12-year-olds. I think Russia and China were sending 12-year-olds.
Well, it looks
with
like
rubber limbs. Yeah. We'll read the rest of these reviews on the next podcast that we get a chance. I think I've locked in Ryan Boyle for a pod.
Oh, I saw Mr. Boyle today.
You did? I
did, yeah.
I think I locked him in for a podcast next Wednesday. So he's got a nice little story because it's a rough life for a scholarship QB most of the time. And every class has a guy, right? And every year we get excited about, is this the next guy? But 1 out of 3 probably is the number. Maybe 1 out of 4 works out and actually becomes the guy, right? Like, think about it. All the way back 10 years.
Less than half, for sure.
All the way back 10 years at this point. And again, there's one quarterback in every class. Now with the transfer portal, you might even have, like, we've got a quarterback in the class, but we've also got Cade coming in, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, if you want to just look at Iowa, in the past 10 years, you've had Rudock, CJ, Nate,
Spencer,
Peters.
That's 4.
You've had 4 quarterbacks in 10 years, and you've brought in an additional 10.
Yep.
On scholarship.
That's 1 out of every 3.
Yeah.
And Ryan was one of those guys, right? We had Uyghurs on. He was one of those guys. And Ryan was a guy similar to Uyghurs who went on and had a really successful career. Unfortunately, he had some injuries as well, but he even stuck around Iowa, tried to switch positions, play wide receiver. He was a special teams guy, all around good dude. Cool cat. And was a 12-time champion in high school during that Dowling High School run in the state of Iowa. So a lot of you people know who Ryan Boyle is. I'm excited to talk to him. So we'll have him on next week. I guess it'll end up coming out the week after that. And I'm excited for that. But swing it straight, Kev.
I'll try my best.
Don't swing too hard. Keep your eye on the ball.
Always good advice.
That's what I thought. I know goal. Grant, appreciate being here, as always.
Happy to be here.
Hey, enjoy your Wednesday night, boys. see you next time. Peace.